Hello everybody. It's always something of a thrill to look at a new Rapido locomotive because, rightly or wrongly, I've always thought of them as the Rolls-Royce of model railway locomotives, producing models of such excellent quality. My first Rapido locomotive was the lovely diminutive J70 tram engine, which runs like a Swiss watch, followed by the excellent model of the Titfield Thunderbolt, a project for which the Rapido team pulled out all the stops, including the production of a lovely and lavishly illustrated book about the 1953 film on which it's based. I also have their peerless dynamometer car with its beautifully modelled interior, so I have high expectations for this new sound-fitted model of the London, Brighton and South Coasts Railway E1 tank engine. The small accompanying owner's manual has all the information about the prototype history, running in, servicing and fitting the accessories. The part I'm particularly interested in is the DCC sound function list. But first things first, let's get the model out of the box. The model has been some years coming, first announced way back in 2018, I think as a collaboration with Model Rail magazine. This is the accessory bag containing screw-link couplings and vacuum pipes, etc. As I was saying, the magazine withdrew from the project in 2021 for some reason, so Rapido conducted an online poll asking if it's a model people would like to see them continue with. Obviously the answer was a resounding yes, because here it is. Rapido have decked this model with a wide range of liveries, including improved engine green, goods green, marsh umber, southern black, malachite green. I've gone for the most exciting one, British Railways unlined black with the early crest. This model seems to have a good bit of weight to it, which you'd expect as Rapido advertised this model as of die-cast construction. On first inspection though, the body and, the running plate as well, seem to be made entirely of plastic. That surprised me, and to be honest, a bit of a letdown. Anyway, let's get the model onto the track and take a closer look. Well, I think I can confirm that the only metal parts on the body are the buffer heads and lamp irons. That's hardly what one expects when a model is described as of die-cast construction. Having said that, though, the model derives its weight from die-cast metal in the bunker and toolbox, part of the side tanks and inside the boiler. One of the perils of plastic running plates is that they can warp, and whilst I was initially concerned that there was a warp in the running plate on my model, I'm now pretty much certain that that's an optical illusion caused by the ill-fitting cab, which leans backwards. You can see the larger gap at the front of the cab compared to the rear. The knock-on effect of this to the handrails is also obvious. Rapido have tooled up for some of the design variations that were made to this locomotive over the years. The bunker rails on the British Railways version are correctly plated over, but just look at the thickness of them when viewed from above. By my estimation, they're about half the thickness of the tool chest that you can see behind the bunker. In comparison, look at the bunker rails on the Hornby M7, which I recently reviewed. A much greater level of finesse. The plastic handrails are painted grey, as are the coupling rods, which to my eye does seem a little unusual compared to other models. It makes the coupling rods look as if they're also plastic, which they're not. Oh dear, it sounds as if my review is rapidly going off the rails, so I have to say the overall appearance of the model is superb, despite its plastic construction, and I'm sorry to labour the point, but the ballast weight you expect to find in all models to a greater or lesser extent does not, in my opinion, confer the right of a manufacturer to describe the model as of die-cast construction. Now, if there is one thing that Rapido have done consistently well, then it's their interiors. The dynamometer car I mentioned earlier being a case in point. Or how about Dan's house in the Titfield Thunderbolt train pack, with an interior featuring a Welsh dresser no less? It's no surprise that the cab is packed with separately fitted detail and looks excellent. There's also a firebox glow, which I'm looking forward to seeing later on. Stroudley's successors, Billington and Marsh, made boiler modifications, which Rapido have also incorporated into the later BR versions of the model. There is a plethora of detail on the tank and boiler tops, and this has been painted well to represent copper and brass. It's been moulded entirely in plastic, and while normally I would have preferred metal handrails, the E1 features an operating rod which runs inside the handrail from the cab to the smoke box, so modelling this in plastic was probably the only way this detail could effectively be included. You can see the difference in thickness as the rod exits the handrail. I do like the way individual nuts and bolts have been modelled. One hopes that there is in the toolbox a spanner of the correct size to fit this particular nut. An important detail sadly missing from my model though is the whistle, which should be to the side of the safety valve. As you can see from this picture, I don't know if it was left off by mistake or snapped off in transit. I certainly couldn't see it in the box. It's an especially important detail as this is a sound-fitted model and I intend to make great use of the whistle. Looking at the front of the model you can see the later shorter chimney as fitted by Marsh. The lady in the street seems to have noticed it too and is pointing directly at it. You can also see the contrasting matte black finish to the smoke box in comparison to the satin finish of the rest of the body. The coupling hook hasn't been fitted but is included in the accessory bag, although complete with coupling attached, so you'd have to cut that free if you want to use the hook and the tension lock as supplied. The number plate 32138 is squarely attached to the smoke box door, and the shed plate below it of 71D indicates that this locomotive would have been allocated to Fratton Depot from the time of nationalisation in 1948. The bolts holding on the red buffer beam are very clearly defined, and the buffers themselves are sprung. And just look at the level of detail on that air or vacuum pipe standard. You can see the individual nuts, clasps and connectors holding it all together. Well, those are just a few of my initial observations on how the model looks straight out of the box. But now let's see how the model sounds and how it runs. F1 switches the sound on. F2 is the brake function. F3 is the long whistle. F4 is the short whistle. F5 is the guard's whistle with answer from the engine. F8 is coupling and uncoupling. F11 are the injectors. F12 is the blower. F13 are the safety valves. F14, the drain cocks didn't work for some reason, so on to F15, the ejector. F16 is the water tank filling. The function list only goes up to F19, but F20, which is not listed, appears to be the Westinghouse pump. There are also sounds allocated to F21 and F22, although I'm not sure what their titles are. This is F21. And F22. Those three additional sounds are obviously a fault with the owner's manual, as they're not listed or titled. Let's adopt a slightly different position for F9, coal shovelling, which works in tandem with the firebox flicker effect. As the E1 heads out of the depot, we'll hear a sound that only operates when in motion. This is F17, flange squeal stroke track creak, as we pass over these old depot points. The model operates really smoothly at this slow speed, and is negotiating all of this point work with ease and without any issues, despite there being no stay alive fitted. The E1 is running into Melchester station to couple up to this ex-LSWR gate stock waiting in platform 6. These unusual coaches ran in this British Rail crimson livery between 1950 and 1954.
Fast train to Victoria, calling at Preston Park, Haywood Heath, Gatwick Airport, Red Hill, East Croydon, Clapham Junction and Victoria. Hurry along please to Victoria train from platform 5.
I do like the way that some of the sound functions on this model, such as the Westinghouse pump and coal shovelling, operate at random automatically.
Will leave from platform 21, falling at Richmond, Twickenham, Witham.
We'll get to hear the coupling sound again as the E1 backs onto the coaches. And as we wait to depart with the passenger train, let's enjoy the firebox flicker once more, which really comes into its own on DCC operation. As you can see, I've also added a driver and fireman, and I've also fitted the coupling hooks. I replaced the missing whistle by cannibalising one from this ancient non-running Hornby model. The whistle was actually made of metal. I think it looks okay, and is certainly better than nothing. I'm sure someone in the comments can tell me what class of locomotive this LNER 460 is. Well, we're finally off. This is F5 guard's whistle with answering whistle from the locomotive.
The steamship Victoria Crossover train has been delayed and is now expected to arrive at 12:55.
Well, despite one or two initial reservations regarding its lack of die-cast body construction, this model has certainly grown on me. It runs like a dream, and most of the detail is really excellent. I don't think Rapido went that extra mile with this model like they have done on other projects, but for the southern modeller like myself, it seems set that this model will certainly become a reliable stalwart of my collection. Well, I hope you enjoyed that look at the sound-fitted version of Rapido's new E1 tank engine, and I'm really looking forward to the release of their next project, the South Eastern Chatham Railway Class 01. But until that arrives here at Melchester, and I believe it's fairly imminent, all I can say is thanks for watching and bye for now.